Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham, the attorney.
All right, so today we are talking about Extreme Sisters, Season 2, Episode 3. And my God, I really love this show.
I do,
I hate to admit it, but I really, really love this show so much.
Just for the shock factor alone.
Yes.
Every episode, there's at least 2 scenes that are just shocking. You're like, oh my God.
Almost, is it the oh my God of like, oh my God, that sister did just that to another sister, or just the lack of boundaries?
All of
the
it.
Intrusiveness?
All of it.
Yes.
All of it.
Okay. All right. So this episode, we get introduced to the triplets, the Capasso triplets from Staten Island, New York, Katherine, Hannah, and Nadia, and they're all 26. And they live together and they spend every waking moment together.
They're identical triplets.
Identical.
Which is very rare.
Yeah. And they all got a tremendous amount of plastic surgery that is never alluded to.
They have very overfilled lips.
And huge boobs.
Boobs.
Like comic. It's comical how big these
on their
boobs
frame.
Are. And they're tiny little things.
And they have the long, probably extensions, hair extensions.
And they've all, lots of lip fillers, lots of, all of that. But they have a secret language.
Which is basically just like Pig Latin.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I was like, God, that sounds like a lot like Pig Latin, which I never did or learned or could when I was a kid. But so it's not really your secret language. It's a secret language.
Yeah, I could understand the gist of what they were saying. Yeah, because you hear words, and that's what Pig Latin is. You take like the first 2 letters off of the front and put it on the back or something. I forget what I used to know how to do it, but yeah, it's not rocket science.
And then, so we see them in this house and they're putting their laundry in a laundry basket. And then it seems like they're walking next door.
Yeah.
To their older sister.
Their older sister is 18 months older.
Regina. And Regina's got the vibe of anyone who's a Park and Rec's fan of like Aubrey Plaza, April on Parks and Rec. This kind of like, oh, the triplets are here. This real sort of deadpan, like, like this life is so...
This is my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says that the sisters live in their own world. They're treated as one, which is maybe the problem, people. Because this family, I have a big gripe with this family. I'll get to it. But yeah, they say that they get in trouble together and they succeed together. And
Regina says that she, growing up, had to do all their chores because they just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And it had to get done. Regina is the quintessential, put upon older sister who, but yet she continues to do it because they say, oh, well, you do our laundry, because we have to go somewhere, and can we leave this here and will you do the laundry? And maybe this is just for the cameras, but Regina's like, okay, I'll do it.
Well, and okay, now we're getting into this. So this is the issue that I had with this entire family, which is that obviously having triplets is insane. Like, we knew triplets when we were little. Remember, I don't remember their name. Do you remember their names?
I'm blanking on their names, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, we knew 3 triplets. There was one of the 3 was slightly taller than the other, so I could always tell who she was, but the other 2 I couldn't. And so having a baby is a lot. Twins is insane, but triplets is rough.
Well, and she had an 18-month-old.
Yes.
The mom had an 18-month-old.
Yeah, she said that, where she said the mom, Donna, said she had 4 kids under 2 at the same time.
And she was in her 20s.
Yes. So, I can imagine that it's insane. It's chaotic. You're trying to get through the days. But now their big stance with the twins is you guys need to get apart. You need to separate. You need to have your own lives. You need to become adults. You need to do this. You need to do that. And, they lived with their grandmother, who they call Nanny. And the nanny's like, you got to get a life. Everyone's telling them the same things. But how they could change is if you, Regina, Nanny, Donna, everybody, set boundaries with them.
Well, yeah, they're big enablers.
No, they're enabling them. So it's a little bit of like, I feel for you, Donna, when you were younger and life was chaotic and things were hard. And trust me, I have a kid. It's hard to set boundaries. Like, it's really hard. But these girls are 26. This through line is the only thing you seem to talk to them about is growing up. It's like, I got a crazy idea. Set boundaries with them. Say no. Regina, say no. Say, pack up your laundry and get out of my house. I'm done with you guys. It's the same thing with they all help them tremendously. We see this scene later on where they're having Sunday dinner and, they're about to get up, but, they're just swooping in for them. And it's this weird combination of having zero faith, being mad at them for not being better, then having zero faith when they do try to do things and negating the things that they are doing that are adults, and then enabling them with the other things too. It's a fucking mess. So anyway, I don't really like these 3 girls that much. I don't think I would be friends with them, but I do feel like they're getting a bad rap because this isn't their fault.
Yeah, they should just be like, okay, because here's the thing. It's not like they are 100%. The triplets are not 100% dependent on their family because turns out they make a very good living.
Yes.
They are gamers. And I don't know anything about this world, but apparently, and because their persona and their looks, I'm sure they get a ton of business. People will pay them to play video games with them live. They call it being on stream.
Yeah. Well, my son watches a lot of this stuff, and they might be like, Twitch is a gaming streaming service that is just geared towards this. And it's treated like real sports. And these women, they make money, like they make money, they get sponsorships that they talked about. They have sponsorships that people sponsor them. I've also watched, my son will watch people play video games, and then people will just send in money, like $5, $10 here, and then also they'll play for money. And they probably get the ad revenue. Right. There's so many different things. So that's why the entire time I'm like, why do you guys keep telling them yous need to get a job? Well, they are. Are they asking you for rent money for this house? Like, what's the problem?
I thought, were they talking about, was it Nanny was talking about how they need to get a job? It's like, they have a job. Yeah. They're making a shit ton of money. They're probably making thousands and thousands
they're making
of dollars a month.
But I think the family thinks, they're just making money because they're pretty. And once you lose your looks, what's going to happen? It's a little bit of like, hold on a second.
Let them worry about that when it happens.
Listen, they've discovered fillers. They can maintain this youth for many, many years. So why do you care? But again, they were treated as one unit their entire lives. And now they're all saying, well, you guys need to separate. It's like, well, I got a crazy idea. When they were little, maybe you shouldn't have all treated them like one unit. Maybe you should have treated them with 3 different distinct personalities and forced them to, do things apart, right? Like, you can't be mad at them now.
Well, and they're also adults.
Yes.
If they want to be together and they want to do gaming, just let them do it. And
just don't do their laundry.
And just say, I'm not going to do your laundry. I'll be over for Sunday dinner. And whatever dinner they provide, just eat it and be happy.
Yeah.
And they're upset because the dinner, they didn't do the dinner right. And they just, I feel like they can't win.
They can't.
Honestly, I wanted to hate these girls.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, I think they're, good for them. They're doing their thing. They're not doing anything wrong. It's the family that has the problem.
Yes.
Not these 3.
And that's what exactly the same. I really just sort of felt the entire, like, even though I don't, again, like I said, I don't know if I'd be friends with them. And also I'm many years older than them.
Yeah. I mean,
but I also just felt like they got set up. There was like a big setup a little bit of, well, all of this has enabled them to get to where they are today. They seem to be doing a hell of a lot better than you're giving them credit for. But that's not even enough.
Well, and even the mom said the reason why they love video games, and she took responsibility for this. She said, because apparently their father has some kind of disease where he's bedridden. And so the only thing that they could really do with him was play video games from bed. And the mom used to buy, she described how they had these stacks of video games. And so she started all of this, and they actually turned it into a way to make a living. And she's mad about that.
Yeah. And you know how many people are out there? Listen, Donna, Mom, you know how many people are out there on the internet desperate to be probably where these girls are?
Yeah.
Desperate. Like, there are so many people trying to start a YouTube channels and trying to start this and that. It's like the fact that they're making money, and if people are just tuning in because they're pretty fine, but they're staying, they're staying because of that. Yeah, I thought that was odd. And then they said that the triplets moved in with Nanny, the grandmother, at 15, but we never learned why.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because obviously Donna and the dad, they separated.
Because she has another child.
Yeah.
They have a younger brother.
Who I think is a half brother.
Half sibling. And then she came to dinner with, was it a boyfriend or a husband?
I think that's the husband. I think that's the stepdad.
Well, who looks like doesn't really look like he's the father of that son. I don't know. I have a feeling the mom she obviously had a lot of different relationships. She had a lot of kids. She was very overwhelmed. I think she was just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so, they lived with Nanny for 10 years or something.
Yeah. Well, and we do learn that they are not all the same. Nadia makes a mess. Poor Nadia. I feel for you. Katherine likes to sleep a lot. And Hannah likes to organize and be the boss. I'm like, really? These are their personalities? Like, there's not much more than... I can understand Hannah is Hannah sort of takes on the role as the big sister, but like sleeps a lot and makes a mess.
That's what you're known for?
Yeah. But they're just on them. So are they all vegan?
I guess that Donna wants them to open a vegan restaurant.
This was the best.
A vegan Italian restaurant.
Okay, this was the best. I'm like, this mom is like, they have this established gaming business that's supporting them, but the mom wants them to quit all of that for a restaurant
yeah.
in a post-COVID world.
No,
really?
I think that this is the mom's dream, and she's like, my daughters have a bunch of money. I think she wants the daughters' money.
Ooh, really?
To invest in this restaurant. Yeah, why? I don't know. It's very odd.
Yeah, the mom wants the restaurant.
Yes, the mom wants the restaurant. It's her idea.
Yeah.
She's the one who's pushing it. They don't want it.
Yeah.
They don't.
But what I love, and it is, and I see this a lot too with my clients, like it's a classic generational difference between the mom and the kids and the grandma and the kids, where this job, being a gamer, did not exist 10, 20 years ago.
Right.
It didn't.
Didn't exist.
So it seems very weird.
Yeah.
And it seems so odd to them that, oh my God, how do you do that? And then, so the mom is really pushing them to open a business that has, what's the percentage of a restaurant surviving?
Rate is probably 90% failure rate or something.
So, this is real smart. I'm like, when the mom was talking about this vegan restaurant, you're just like, oh, shut up. This is the dumbest idea.
No, she wants their money.
Uh-huh.
They have a lot of money.
Yeah.
They were talking about one thing where they got paid $3,000. Am I imagining this?
Yeah. They said
they paid $3,000 for one sponsorship.
Yeah. These people, no, I'm telling you, because my son Max watches all of these people with the subscribers, like millions of subscribers. You know, this guy just like these kids, they're 20 some odd years old. And it's so funny too, because it is everybody that's young wants to become one of these people, right? Because it is fun. It's a fun way to make money. You know, it's a fun way to make a living, and you can make a lot of money. And they're just, they don't, you know, they don't get it. They can't support it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, and then I start writing about my tirade. Like, I was just like, this is what I wrote. This whole family is upset. These three haven't grown up, but no one sets boundaries with them and says no. You know, accepted fact. Should have done it younger because couldn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're sort of just accepted as fact. I know. I'm just mad.
Yeah.
They don't think streaming's they're okay. And that's it.
That's about it.
All right.
For these gals.
All right, now we're on to Anna and Lucy. Yeah, they still have the dolls. They still have those dolls.
Ben comes in with a double stroller. Did you see that?
Yes.
He got a double stroller for the dolls.
Yes. Yes.
Well, yeah, this is Toothgate.
Oh, yes, this is
Toothgate.
Well, you know what? Okay, this is the other thing. The mom was like, I'm so happy to see the girls because they seem so calm. And the girls are just sitting there going, and they're petting the dolls. They're petting. They're like, the mom is like, they're so calm. I'm like, yeah, we're so calm. Like petting the dog. I was just like, then maybe they should get cats. Right? I really do.
They couldn't handle an animal.
No.
Because the animal's too uncontrollable and unpredictable. They cannot be the same. It would ruin the sameness.
Maybe
actually these dolls actually are perfect.
Yeah, they are actually.
Because it is something that they can absolutely control.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't know. Maybe mom has found a brilliant answer.
I thought mom was a nut with this, but maybe
I think she's onto something. So Anna, she's the one with the infected tooth, and it's just hurting her so terribly.
I can't imagine.
Can't take it anymore. They go back to the same dentist who they went to last time, who refused to, pull the Lucy's healthy tooth. And Anna has an anxiety attack.
Yeah,
just being there because she knows that it has to come out, but she says she just doesn't know what they're going to do because their teeth have to be the same.
Yeah, the same. And
so she freaks out, and then Lucy kind of talks her down, and they go back in, and then Lucy starts to freak out, and they're saying to the dentist, are you sure you can't just take her tooth out too? And he's like, no. And he's like, I guess it's like a wisdom tooth. Maybe
I think that the tooth, or maybe this was the scenes for next week where, it's possible that Lucy could get a wisdom tooth taken out.
Oh, as a substitute.
As a substitute, like that would be something. Because again, it's not so much obviously the dentist is trying to be ethical, but it's also kind of like, no, by law, I cannot on camera, take out a healthy tooth. So I think it's maybe she never got her wisdom teeth taken out. So they felt like, oh, okay, that's acceptable.
Yeah. And he was saying that he's like, but I don't really want to do that because if you cut a nerve, your face can be paralyzed.
Yeah. And I had that when I got my wisdom teeth taken out. My whole half of my face, like for years, like this section of my face was numb.
Really?
Yeah.
For years?
For years. It finally kind of came back, but you kind of just get used to it. Yeah. And it's not that big of a deal. I mean, as things go, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't affect a lot. But yeah, it was like a long time for me.
I didn't know that. But even with wisdom teeth, unless they're causing a problem, they'll leave them in there. Mm-hmm. Like I kind of had to fight with Layla's dentist about taking them out because, they were trying to say that they were fine. And she was like, no, they're not. It's not fine. I'm in pain, and kind of had to argue with them about it. So anyway, finally got them out.
Yes.
Got them all out. But
these two are they're melting down. This is their worst nightmare. They're being faced with something for the first time that they cannot control, and they are freaking out.
So that was really all that happened with them.
All right. Jessica and Christina, and this I thought was the grossest of everything I witnessed. These two.
Yeah.
So Christina, we found out from last week that there was an ultrasound. Jessica desperately wanted to go. John, the husband, put his foot down. So it was just Christina who went to the ultrasound. Jessica says that she's still hurt, but she's trying to be respectful, which I'm kind of, I don't know about that. So now, of course, what happens? Jessica wants a baby.
Yeah, because they've always been pregnant at the same time.
Yes. And so we learned that, I guess, and at first I was like, what's the math of that if one has 2 kids and another one has 1? But yeah, I guess they were pregnant together the first time, and then Jessica lost the baby, and then they got pregnant again the second time, and their kids are Christina's younger one and Jessica's only one are only 3 months apart.
Yeah, well, and she better hurry because isn't Christina like 6 months pregnant?
Yeah, I mean, you guys aren't going to be pregnant at the same time. And then I didn't write this down, but Jessica offers to give Christina a foot rub and starts to rub her feet. And then Christina says, oh yeah, I have this hangnail here. And Jessica's like, oh, I'll get some clippers. And she said, oh, I don't really have toenail clippers because I just get everything done when I get pedicures. So Jessica then proceeds to, with her mouth, bite down and get rid of the hangnail.
Yeah, she bit the hangnail off of Christina's toe and then spit it out
onto the floor. And I'm telling you people, I am not a germaphobe. I am messy-tessy. And hand to God, I was like, that's gross. I'm grossed out by this.
And you
know
what?
Disgusting.
Neither one of them were even phased.
No.
Christina was unfazed. When Jessica took Christina's toe and put it in her mouth and started to chew off that hangnail, she was like, oh, great. Like she was not phased.
Because they've done this before, or they've done some version of this before.
God, I'm feeling nauseous.
I mean, but this, yeah, Jessica seems to be the one, when you watch the show and the storyline, to be the one that's like so desperate to hang on to Christina. But it's like Christina's just as bad.
She's just as bad. She's just not as vocal about it. Jessica's much more vocal. Yeah, and Jessica, Jessica has this boyfriend, Josh, who's boyfriend of 3 months.
Yes.
And so she's going to approach him and say, look, I need to get pregnant, like stat, because I have to be pregnant at the same time. I mean, God, this is they're morphing into Anna and Lucy.
Yes.
The same time. I mean, geez.
And Christina's like, you've been dating him for just a couple months. Is he really going to go for that? And then Jessica's for sure. He's going to be great. He's going to love it. And then we see scenes from next week where, and I was kind of bummed because I was kind of hoping Jessica and her ex-husband would get back together because we saw them like hook up, sleep together in the last episode. So I kind of thought like maybe.
You mean last season?
Last season. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, she's with Josh now. But so I was hoping the two of them would get together, and I guess that's not happening. But we see from the scenes next week, she tries to tell him about her ex-husband, and he's like, are you insane? I mean, he says he is like the voice of everyone in the audience. Like, this is sick. You got to stop doing this. You just want to be pregnant because you're going to bring a child into this world.
Just because you want to be pregnant.
Just because you want to be pregnant at the same time, and you're going to ask this guy that you don't even know. And you know what? Again, 3 months is not long enough to know someone. It's not long enough to move in with them.
Commit to a baby for the rest of your life.
It's not long enough to move in with them, which can end. It's not long enough to marry them, which can end. And a baby means that you are fused with this person for the rest of that child's life.
Well, at least till they're 18.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to see them in all the graduations. They get married. Every little thing that happens with this kid, the grandkids, all of it. It's all, you're all fused together forever and ever. So, oh God.
Okay.
So finally, the bulk of the show was the triplets and V and Ashley.
Now this was even grosser. This was even grosser. The scene opens up. Okay, V is in the bathroom on the toilet pooping, and says, because Ashley's in the other room and she wants to walk over into the bathroom to talk to her. And she's like, are you pooping? And she's like, yeah. Or,
Yeah.
And then so V is on the toilet. She's got a vape pen next to her.
That. I didn't see the vape
on
pen.
the counter next to the toilet. She has a vape pen and a glass of wine. So she's settling in.
This is her Friday night plans.
Yes, she is settling in, and she's got her cell phone in one hand. And her pants are she is on. Her pants really truly are pulled.
They're down.
You can kind of see her midriff from the side.
Yes. So this was not. This was
real.
real.
This is real.
Really
this is not staged. This is real. And so Ashley comes into the bathroom and kind of like
stands
on the floor. Or stands in the doorway.
She's in the doorway. She's like, okay, well, mercy flush or like flush first or something or spray, and then I'll come and sit. I'm like, you couldn't have waited. You could not have waited until V finished
doing her thing.
But you know what? Now that you described the wine and the other thing, I bet you anything, Ashley's been waiting like hours. It sounds like, and
she's like, "Are you done yet? I can't wait. We need to film. we need to film this scene. We're on a schedule."
Well, the producers are kind of like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, and the producer, obviously the cameraman is right there in the doorway with Ashley. Oh my gosh, they're just doing this like it is nothing.
I don't think it is much for them. So, but we learned that Demetrius is still not happy. Ashley feels bad about everything, but the big thing this week is that Ashley has no father, and they have an appointment next week. So she's got to step on it and she's got to find that sperm.
Well, yeah, V says, now who's going to be the pappy? Yeah, so Ashley offers up her ex on and off boyfriend for the last 10 years, Terrence.
Yes.
And V is not happy about this. She does not like Terrence. She says he's arrogant, controlling, condescending, and he has no neck. She really doesn't like him.
She does not like him. And for rightful reason. It sounds like Terrence and Ashley were on and off for a long time. It sounds like maybe they were trying to have a baby together. Mm-hmm. Then her fibroids got bad. I think she went in for the surgery. And I think that during that time, Terrence was not around, not supportive, and just it sort of petered out. And it was very, very, I think, very painful for Ashley. And so now it's almost like she's sort of stuck on this thing of, well, I was trying with him before. I should keep trying,
Right. She says, I want my baby from him. Like, yeah, she has it in her mind that, they were supposed to have a baby together. Yeah. And but for having the hysterectomy, they would have had this baby. And so now she wants her baby. She's fixated on this.
But they're unsure if Terrence still wants the baby because no one's really talked to poor Terrence about any of that. So Ashley and V go to meet Terrence, and we meet Terrence, who he has a little bit of a neck. I felt like, I mean, listen, Terrence said some really mean things, but I don't think Terrence was really that insane. I mean, I really kind of felt like, he was just like, what is going on here? What's happening? We're not even together. You know?
And he said, I don't know if it was him who said this, like, is he just going to be a sperm donor, or does she actually want to be with him? And Terrence says, this is a big responsibility. She wants a baby, but they don't even have a relationship. Mm-hmm. And then Ashley's like, oh, no, I love him and I want to be a family. Which I don't really believe. I think she's just saying that.
Well, no. And then Terrence says exactly what Demetrius says. I think, like he said, Ashley wants to have a baby with V.
Right.
Those two want to have a baby together. Like, there's no need for me. And which is not wrong. And it's funny too, because like V is saying too, these two need to work on their relationship before they do this. And Terrence is like, well, we need to work on our relationship and we need to talk. Like, even just when you come and ask me, it's not just you, it's you and V.
Yeah. And he says that V is pissing him off because, she's being very overbearing. And it's like, this isn't about he and Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
This is about, Ashley and V. And he says that he doesn't want her carrying his child.
Yeah.
And then, he smartly, ultimately says no.
Yeah.
He can't have a baby with Ashley and V.
Or have a baby with someone that he's not even with, and he thought they were going to get together and have a drink or a meal tonight, and then this is what's happening.
Yeah.
But he really puts his foot in his mouth when he says, "Why do you care? You're not even carrying it." Which was really, I thought, mean. Very, 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 very mean.
I get the sense that he meant it in a malicious way. It didn't come out right.
Yeah.
It was insensitive.
It was very insensitive. And he really hurt her because she gets up and she's obviously very upset.
Yeah.
And then he kind of has this attitude of and then V goes to follow her. And then he's just like, well,
Guess I'll go now.
Guess I'll go. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that was... I don't know what did they really think he was going to be like, oh, sure, I'll do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Where are they going to, why doesn't she just get a sperm donor?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier.
It would be. And I think that Ashley obviously still has feelings for Terrence.
Yeah.
And I think that this is her way. I think that this sort of checks all these boxes, right? Which is, we're on the show. We have this storyline. I'm going to get this baby. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And listen, I feel awful for her. I'm sorry she had the hysterectomy. It sounds like, it's really, really terrible. And at the same time, it's like, you have two girls. Like
two boys.
She has two daughters. That's why she wants a boy.
No, it's the other way around. She has two boys. She wants a daughter.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So, yeah, I mean, either way, it's
either way. And also, you're not guaranteed to have it.
Well,
I guess now they can tell the sex of these embryos. But God, do they really have the money for this? Do you know how expensive that is to do all that?
Well, and so maybe the show's paying for it, but the thing is that there are women out there who, would love to have one child, no matter what the gender. And it's a little bit of like, you have these two boys, so love them and appreciate what you have. Listen, I have a son, but I also have Layla.
Yeah.
And she's my niece. And so I get all my girl time right there. Like, go find a niece or a girl that you can hang out with.
Yeah, focus on the kids you have. I don't like this. I'm sure all kids can use more attention.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
I don't know. This is just awkward. So, did we get any scenes from next week? I can't remember.
No, I feel like we did. I feel like I saw the scene with the wisdom teeth thing. I think was in next week. I think we see the scene where Jessica's ex, is it Josh or Mike? I can't remember his name, is the one that said, that is crazy. You just want to have a child. You're going to bring a child in this world and then her child is sitting over there and has no idea. So Jessica's child turns around and goes, what?
Oh God.
It's just, I mean, really, Jessica, you couldn't have waited until your kid was out of the room to have this conversation.
Oh, that's, I don't like that. God, these poor kids. I know that's the thing. When you see these kids on these shows, like witnessing this craziness.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. Well, it's a short episode, but whew, boy.
Yeah. It was good.
Extreme Sisters
Did they have a preview about the triplets? Oh, I know there was a scene where Donna showed up.
Yes.
To go. They had some appointment to go look at a restaurant space or do something.
Have a meeting about it.
Have a meeting, and the girls are still asleep, and she's pissed off about it, and
then leaves. And it's a little bit of like the girls are just going to go right back.
They don't care.
They don't care. They don't want to open a vegan restaurant with you, Donna. I'm sorry.
No,
they don't.
You're out of luck, Donna. You're going to have to find another investor.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it's the money, but I think it's beyond that, where it's like one person gets their bee in a bonnet about something, one aspect, one person in a couple or whatever it is, and that they can't possibly do it on their own. Right. I think Donna's afraid to open a restaurant by herself.
Yeah.
And so the only way she can, do it is to convince the girls. And I think this gives her a really good excuse not to do this thing that she really wants to do, but she's very afraid to do. Just keep blaming the girls. Well, the girls wouldn't be there for me. The girls didn't show up to the meeting. The girls didn't do this. So therefore I didn't open my vegan restaurant. My dreams are dashed. It's like, Donna, It's on you, honey.
Well, and also at the same time, she's criticizing the girls about how worthless they are. So why do you want to go into business with them?
You're right. There is a lot of that. But it's just this weird thing where the family's like, we've got to have structure for them. They've got to have structure. They've got to have this. They've got to have that. And it's like, and I say this when parents call me all the time about their kids. I say to them, well, are they asking you for money? No. Are you paying their rent or anything? No. Are you paying for anything that they're doing? And usually the parents are like, they're on my cell phone plan, but I don't really care about that. And it's like, so what's the problem?
Yeah.
If your kid is completely supporting themselves, not hurting anyone.
What do they want them to do?
Well, a lot of my clients get very similar to this, where either the kid isn't working full time because they got a bunch of money from COVID and the stimuluses and all that. Because a lot of young people who got laid off, and a lot of young people got laid off during COVID, lived off of, maybe moved back home and lived with a parent. But a lot of them lived in their own apartments and had a bunch of savings. And then I'm thinking about this one couple in particular they both got on the phone with me, and I was just like, oh God. I know. And it was a consultation. I wasn't even charging them. But sometimes I get people where I'm like, I can solve this particular problem during this consultation. So I'll do this for you, and they were freaked out about their son, but their son was paying his own rent. He was doing his own stuff. He wanted to be an artist. And he had a bunch of different little jobs.
But they didn't want him to be an artist.
Yeah. It was almost kind of because they were so used to, you graduate from college, you get a job, maybe you move jobs, that's fine. And you figure things out, but you have this 9 to 5 and you
have a lifelong career that you do your whole
and you have security and benefits and all these other kinds of things.
It doesn't exist anymore.
And that's the thing. Because it doesn't exist anymore, young people are saying, okay, there is no pension at the end of this. There is no retirement package. So I'm going to live my life how I want to live it.
Right.
And I'm going to work a lot of odd jobs. I'm going to travel. I'm going to, I'm going to sublet a lot and not really have a home base. And that was the issue with the parents. They were worried that their kid was, depressed and melting down because he didn't have these things. And I was like, well, does he leave the house? Yes. Does he have friends? Yes. He has a girlfriend? Yes. I'm like,
he's doing great.
Again, he sounds great, but I get a lot of parents who just don't understand this stuff.
And on the show, this is the classic clash between the old school and the new generation. Because you got these old school Italian parents and grandparents who are like, you're supposed to do things a certain way. Mm-hmm. And I know, because whenever my daughter gets at all worked up about anything having to do with working or career, I'm like, you know what? Don't give the rest of your life to work. Right now, do what makes you happy. Travel.
Travel. God, I wish I had traveled more.
Do all that stuff because you can always get a job.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is, and this is one of the things that I'm sad. One thing I was really jealous of with young people during the pandemic was the fact that it was I had some clients or people that they knew they would tell me about, they would go and rent a house in Colorado, in Denver for a month and live life there, Austin, Texas for a month, Miami for a month, here for a month.
That sounds great.
And that just sounded like, wow, to be able to live and be and work and live in a city, but you don't have to commit to it. You can leave in a little bit of time. You can stay if you like it longer. You can go. That freedom, that flexibility. I mean, I was, my first career working in Hollywood, it's very different now, but it was chained to a desk. Get up every, 9:30 to 6:30, chained to a desk. 1 to 2 is lunch, got to be back by 2, or you're in trouble. It was very much, and people watching you constantly, there are no cell phones, no internet, no nothing. You just worked and worked and worked. And it was, in the world that we live in today, what was so hard about what was happening back when I was young was that if you decided, okay, I'm going to take some time off and travel, you had to kind of stop your career. You had to stop working or take time off.
Because no one was going to give you 2 months, 3 months off.
Yes.
You'd lose your job.
Yes. So no one was going to give you, there were no sabbaticals unless you were a teacher, and a professor. There was none of that. So it would have been impossible. And I never made enough money to even have enough money to travel. Right. But even if I had made a bunch of money, like I would have to have quit that job and then traveled and then come back and find another job. What's so amazing about the world that we live in today is that you can go travel. You can go do whatever you want. I mean, you might have to work odd hours because you're in Paris and everybody's back here in the Bay Area.
But you can still work.
You can still work and make a living. And a lot of people are traveling. I have a lot of clients that are traveling in a way where they're going to one area, like one part of Spain, and like there for weeks and weeks and weeks and really getting, into the culture and into the people, and not that kind of like 2 days in Barcelona, 2 days in Madrid thing. And that's what's unique and special, is that you can continue to work. But again, the older generations have a hard time because it wasn't what they did.
Right.
And again, I think it's every parent's fear is, right. It's like the biggest fear is always losing your child. But the second one is they're not going to leave the house. They're not going to launch. They're not going to be productive adults. I think that's the core of it. Right. Which is, for these parents, this is what a productive adult does, is this. And it's
but their kid was a productive adult.
He is, but not in the way they thought. So in their mind, it was like he's struggling because he's not working full time, and he's not building something in a, he's not putting money into a Roth IRA, right? That was in their minds. That's their definition of it. And it's like, no, parents need to shift their expectations and ask yourself these questions. If your kid is supporting themselves, if they're happy, if you talk to them and they're happy and healthy, and if you're not getting slapped with bills or anything like that for what they're doing, then you got to let them live. It doesn't matter.
Right. They're adults. It's their life. Yeah. They can do with it what they want, and they have to learn for themselves. And that's the thing. You also can't tell a young adult much. You know what I mean? Like it's hard. Like, they'll listen to you to a certain point, but then they have their own ideas, and that's fine. As long as you got to learn. That's how you learn. Yeah. It's by making mistakes. And
they'll learn to me. They listen to me, they're therapists. And I say this to parents a lot. I said, you know what? I may say the exact same things that you say. They'll just hear it from me.
Exactly.
They'll hear it from me. They won't hear it from you. But I'm not going to, take advantage of these parents and work with a kid who doesn't even need it or want it. Right. You know what I mean?
Because I get want it is the number one thing.
I get parents constantly like reaching out, wanting to talk to me, wanting this, wanting that, and like wanting to get their kids in coaching or therapy or something like that. And I'm always like, well, does your kid want to do it? No.
Yeah. Well, what are you supposed to do?
Why am I here? You know? Yeah. So I'm like, well, and it doesn't work. Trust me. It doesn't work when the kid doesn't want to do it. Lots of kids do. The kids usually are, there are some that are like, okay, yeah, I want help. I need help getting a job, or I need help doing this, or mental health issues, or whatever it is. But yeah, if your kid doesn't want to do it, they're not going to do it.
No.
And they're just going to waste your money. So,
well, there you go. You got a free little parenting coaching session here at the end. Yes. So hopefully you get a few nuggets out of there.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you like this podcast, if you've made it this long, please give us a 5-star review, and even write us a review. We'd really appreciate it. And even better is subscribing. Please subscribe. Yeah. Tell a friend, tell another friend, and tell your friends, please subscribe. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Craving the coffee flavor you love, but without the caffeine? Kachava's got you covered with their newest coffee flavor. This all-in-one nutrition shake delivers bold, authentic flavor, crafted from premium decaffeinated Brazilian beans. With 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and so much more. Treat yourself to the flavor and nutrition your body craves. Go to Kachava.com and use code SMOOTHIE. new customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code SMOOTHIE.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. So give me my good friends, give me a dew.
Grab some friends and an ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.